Thank you. I'm just going to share it. Welcome, everyone. I'm so excited to be here and hosted with Megha.
Hello, everyone.
I think our internet is a little, my internet is a little unstable, I think. Yeah. So, how do we start? I'm just, maybe, how has it been, Megha? I mean, you were sharing earlier also about women talking and Mauritius and anything.
Interesting and intense. And one of the things that came back is, had this monologue been run over 3 hours nonstop, it wouldn't be the same now that it's being run one day at a time. And then the reflection and the questioning.
Yeah.
I feel like whoever watches us today, like it's such a gift for all of us. You're gonna get access to all of this later on. So take it again, like one day at a time, and reflect and digest and put it aside and come back to it. So this has been like my experience and from women I'm hearing from right now in Mauritius. So yes, it makes sense. Not making sense, not even the thing is, it is intense. It is very intense.
It is intense. Yeah.
And somebody was telling me today, like she saw the monologue that was played back here in Mauritius like 4 5 years ago, but she's discovering it like it's different this time, and it's even more different because like I'm one of the face she knows, like coming to monologue because there's somebody another woman she knows has shifted experience of coming into presence of her own vagina. For me, it's very powerful to hear this.
Wow, that's
Just
really,
because it's like just because there is another vagina that I know, but I'm not calling her vagina, I'm calling her a face, a woman. This actually is supporting me into like a different perspective and relating with my own vagina. Yeah.
that is so powerful what you're saying. Yeah, and I can kind of, if I see, like I was thinking, if I have Bollywood people doing this monologue, famous actors or actresses doing this monologue, and I go to and I watch it, it will never feel relatable to me. It would be something I would sit there, laugh, have a great reflection. I mean, don't even reflect. I'll have I will think about it. Oh yeah, it's happening to so many women, and I'll come home. And as you're saying, I'm reflecting on that. How would it be if I watched? But to see us, I mean, yeah, women who we know from the community who are voices, and I mean, you are a very influential voice. I see you as in Mauritius, yeah. So you speak and you really are giving voice to so many unspoken, and the background that you have also this corporate background and also this background of where you are and how you've steered that conversation into this more somatic, woman based, vulnerable, authentic presence. And
Journey began with you, right?
yeah, I think my journey also began. we all began kind of, in this. I myself am seeing, who I was then and who I am now, and how we have all grown and changed and transformed together, also seeing each other, this journey.
In the company of women. I feel that's one of the biggest gifts.
Yeah, the company of women.
Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah. How has it been personally for you being in the vagina monologues and watching it?
The first day, the day before we had the briefing on the 13th, after that, I went and I looked at my mom. I was like, I want my friends to meet you. And I've never asked her that before. I was like, you cook for her, cook for all of the girls. And I'll ask them to come one of the days. And that's when it hit me like, and I'm not saying it has to be like this for everyone. For me, maybe there's a level of work that have happened and movement rather that have been in the happening inside and in my own system. Like I'm in a space where meeting the vagina is meeting my mother.
Mm,
Nobody else. That's it.
mm, yeah.
Interesting because these days I've been seeing so much of her in me.
Mm,
And I'm relating in this journey. There is so much of her in me, like showing up, taking care of myself, and eating and keeping up with stuff. And yeah, my relating with my vagina is my relating with women from my lineage,
yeah.
my grandmother, my mother.
Mm,
Like you are the constellation facilitator and bird Helene that say it so often, right?
yeah.
Our personality may not meet,
Right.
but there is no doubt about the love that flows.
Right. And we receive the gifts of a womb and our femininity through the line of our mothers. When we stand in their line and when we come into their sphere of influence is when we also, yeah, really receive the gifts of our womanness or womanhood. Yeah, Bert's work really says that.
It is bringing me to this space of inner peace because now I'm like, no wonder any attempt to have a man in my life before didn't work. When I'm not standing where I belong,
Yeah.
how can I even be mega Nike? I'm not even belonging in my like. So yeah, I it's an interest. But I now had, of course, a lot of like bodily reaction.
Yeah.
But like, and you said it beautifully yesterday. The vagina is speaking. She's speaking.
Yeah. And for those who watching and who kind of don't know, but when I first started the Shakti Ship journey, 2014, 2015, that's when Megha and I kind of, we got connected. We both were Vital Voices fellows,
Yeah.
and I had posted this in the Vital Voices group, and Megha was the only person. Okay, who reached out and was part of the journey. And with Megha, also Pratibha and I think Chaya joined. I forgot the first time was Chaya was it was just Pratibha.
Second time triathlon.
Second time Chittiva joined. Yeah. So it was like that. I think that was the first batch which I did. Before that, it was called Body Map Project. So this is the first batch of Shakti Ship. And yeah, and
And for some of you wondering out there in Mauritius, Rekha was in Mauritius in 2018.
yes, yeah,
She like we hosted her Rekha that she sent all, and there was this amazing conference that had happened. And now that we are here, I'm gonna say we plan to see it again. You want her and this amazing work of her to happen on this island again, we can do that. Yeah, definitely.
blessed be, blessed be,
Yeah.
blessed be.
Yeah.
Yeah. I every day when I always think what do I open with today, in uh, the monologues, what to bring in the conversation today. And um, something that I think I was going through all the videos of previous days, so we'll start maybe in another 5 or 10 minutes. We'll watch a video for sure today. And something that a word that really stood out for me, which I wanted to kind of very lightly mention it because it's a word that I also resonate with, and that word is ignorance. And the reason why that word hits me very differently today than it did for me 4, 5, 6, 7 years ago is because of the trauma awareness that I have now. And because I in spiritual circles and things, we say that when we, especially we talk about the world and the violence and people, we say how ignorant, it's the ignorance in people. And it's, for me right now, I always hear it, it's like saying that it's blind, it's I feel like it's calling a blind person blind. And what I mean by that is a blind person didn't do anything to be born blind. In the same way, ignorance is also, when we call someone ignorance, it's also because even the perpetuators or those who, you know, are on the other side, who are many times the one who are causing pain to many of these women in these monologues. Just to say that they are ignorant is not true, but because many times we say ignorant like they could have been somebody else. And the reason I want to say that is because the ignorance is part of the brain development itself. So it's not something that's, it's not something that the word cannot be used as almost like an accusation, you know, that not accusatory, but you know, it's like saying blind. You know, we'll never call a blind person, you are blind. We'll never say that as that's why you can't walk or what, because they didn't do anything. In the same way, I think as we start knowing more and more about trauma in this work, we realize that even that, and it does not mean that there are no consequences, or you know, there are. Even if you're blind and you cannot walk and you fall, there are consequences, right? In the same way, when someone is so, the brain, the frontal cortex is not developed in a way that they're able to inhibit their own behavior and they cause harm, and they're doing, these actions are happening, you know, it is, yeah, it is, we have to start seeing it a little differently is what I'm saying. Yeah, does that make sense? Yeah,
it does.
Yeah.
And I feel like what I do sense and believe now, it's like most of us can't even imagine how unsafe it feels for that person in his or her whole body, and how much is coming out in terms of like mess and hitting and fight and raping, and
Yeah,
like somebody has to be really unsafe to do all of this.
definitely. And I wanted to read this quote. I think I posted it in the Chiron's quote. Be kind. Yeah, that's what I wanted to bring. Be kind. Everyone you meet is fighting a great battle. And I want to say that, you know, as we do this work and we are standing up to stop violence towards women and girls, to also remember to be kind to our own self and to those who we want to also stop doing what they are doing. Yeah, and yeah. So shall we watch a video? Yeah, and in this video, it'll begin with whatever it begins with, but there is a movement in this video where things will shift. And there is, so I want you to really feel it, those who are watching, and to see if it opens up something. If it's a standing, it opens up, or moving of your arms, whatever opens up for you, please allow yourself to really enter into that movement. Okay, so it's just a 3-minute video. We're going to watch it. Give me 1 second to grab it. Okay. Okay. So we're going to take our videos out and I'll share this one. Okay, here it is. Woo! How was that? Whew. Hmm. So shall we enter into our piece for today? I'm just going to read a little background for the piece. This is again by Eve Ensler. It's an introduction to today's piece as to what's the story? How did this piece come about? For the last 10 years, I have been actively involved with women who have no homes, women we call homeless people. So we can categorize and forget them. I have done all kinds of things with these women who have become my friends. I run recovery groups for women who have been raped or suffered incest, and groups for women addicted to drugs and alcohol. I go to the movies with these women. I have meals with them. I hang out. Over the past 10 years, I have interviewed hundreds of women. In all that time, I have met only 2 who were not subject to incest as young girls or raped as young women. I have evolved a theory that for most of these women, home is a very scary place, a place they have fled from, and that the shelters where I meet them are the first places many of them ever find safety, protection, or comfort in the community of other women. This monologue is one woman's story as she told it to me. I met her about 5 years ago in a shelter. I would like to tell you it's an unusual story, brutal, extreme, but it's not. In fact, it's not nearly as disturbing as many of the stories I've heard in the years since. Poor women suffer terrible sexual violence that goes unreported. Because of their social class, these women do not have access to therapy or other methods of healing. Their repeated abuse ultimately eats away at their self-esteem, driving them to drugs, prostitution, AIDS, and in many cases, death. Fortunately, this particular story has a different outcome. This woman met another woman in that shelter, and they fell in love. Through their love, they got out of the shelter system and have a beautiful life together today. I wrote this piece for them, for their amazing spirits, for the women we do not see who hurt and who need us. The little Coochie Snorcher that could. Memory, December 1965. I was 5 years old.
My mama tells me in a loud, scary, life-threatening voice to stop scratching my Coochie Snorcher. I become terrified that I've scratched it off down there. I do not touch myself again, even in the bath. I'm afraid of the water getting in and filling me up so I explode. I put band-aids over my Coochie to cover the hole, but they fall off in the water. I imagine a stopper, a bathtub plug, up there to prevent things from entering me. I sleep with 3 pairs of happy heart-patterned cotton underpants underneath my snap-up pajamas. I still want to touch myself sometimes, but I don't.
Memory, I'm 7 years old.
Edgar Montane, who is 10, gets angry at me and punches me down with all his might between my legs. Oh, it feels like he breaks my entire self. I limp home. I can't be. My mama asks me, what's wrong with my Coochie Snorcher? And when I tell her what Edgar did, she yells at me and says, never let anyone touch me down there again. I try to explain that he didn't touch. Mama, he punched it.
Memory, I'm 9 years old.
I play on the bed, bouncing and falling, and impale my Coochie Snorcher on the bedpost. I make high-pitched, screamy noises that come straight from my Coochie Snorcher's mouth. I get taken to the hospital and they sew it up down there from where it's been torn apart.
Memory, I'm 10 years old.
I'm at my father's house and he's having party upstairs. Everyone's drinking. I'm playing alone in the basement and I'm trying on my new cotton white bra and panties that my father's girlfriend gave me. Suddenly, my father's best friend, this big man, Alfred, comes up from behind and pulls my new underpants down and sticks his hard, big penis inside into my Coochie Snorcher. I scream, I kick. I try to fight him off, but he already gets it in. My father's there then, and he has a gun, and there's loud, horrible noise, and then there's blood all over Alfred and me. Lots of blood. I'm sure my Coochie Snorchers is finally falling off. Alfred is paralyzed for life, and my mama doesn't let me see my father for 7 years.
Memory, I'm 13 years old.
My Coochie Snorcher is a very bad place. A place of pain, nastiness, punching, invasion, and blood. It's a site for mishaps. It's a bad luck zone. I imagine a freeway between my legs and I'm traveling, going far, far away from here.
Memory, I'm 16 years old.
There's this gorgeous 24-year-old woman in our neighborhood, and I stare at her all the time. One day she invites me into her car. She asks me if I like to kiss boys. I say I don't. Then she says she wants to show me something. And she leans over and kisses me so softly on the lips with her lips, and then puts her tongue in my mouth. Wow. She asks me if I want to come over to her house, and then she kisses me again and tells me to relax, to feel it, to let our tongues feel it. She asks my mama if I can spend the night, and my mother's delighted that such a beautiful, successful woman has taken an interest in me.
I'm scared and I can't wait. Her apartment's fantastic. She's got it hooked up. It's the 70s. The beads, the fluffy pillows, the mood lights. I decide right there and then that I want to be a secretary like her when I grow up. She makes a vodka for herself and then she asks what I want to drink. I say the same as she's drinking. And she says she doesn't think my mama would like me drinking vodka. I say she probably wouldn't like me kissing girls either. And the pretty lady makes me a drink. Then she changes into this chocolate satin teddy. She's so beautiful. I always thought bulldoggers were ugly.
I say, you look great. And she says, so do you. I say, but I only have this white cotton bra and underpants. Then she dresses me, slowly, in another satin teddy. It's lavender, like the first soft days of spring. The alcohol has gone to my head and I'm loose and ready. There's a picture over her bed of a naked black woman with a huge afro. She gently and slowly lays me out on the bed, and just our bodies rubbing together makes me come. Then she does everything to me and my Coochie Snorcher that I always thought was nasty before. And wow, I'm so hot and wild.
She says, your vagina, untouched by man, smells so nice, so fresh. So fresh, I wish I could keep it that way forever. I get crazy wild. And then the phone rings. And of course, it's my mama. I'm sure she knows. She catches me at everything. I'm breathing so heavy. And I try to act normal and then get on the phone and she asked me, what's wrong with you? Have you been running? I say, no, mama, exercising. Then she tells the beautiful secretary to make sure I'm not around boys. And the lady tells her, trust me, there's no boys around here.
Afterwards, the gorgeous lady teaches me everything about my Coochie Snorcher. She makes me play with myself in front of her, and she teaches me all the different ways to give myself pleasure. She's very thorough. She tells me to always, she tells me to always know how to give myself pleasure so I'll never have to rely on a man. In the morning, I'm worried that I've become a butch because I'm so in love with her. She laughs, but I never see her again. I realize later she was my surprising, unexpected, and politically incorrect salvation.
She transformed my sorry ass Coochie Snorcher and raised it into a kind of heaven.
Hmm. I want to invite the sisters back. Ruchi, welcome. And let me also introduce. So Ruchi introduces herself as I'm open and adventurous. I bleed and heal. I birth myself every moment. I am whole. And Sari is a mystically oriented seeker and educator. And of course, Megha, we've already met. And Megha Naiki is giggling womb, laughing vagina, swaying hair, budding breasts, daughter, sister, aunt, and granddaughter. How are you guys? I'm realizing I am a little tired. I just have to give it that voice. So yeah, how was that piece for both of you? How was it reading? And it was very different from how, our earlier, yeah. How was that?
Well, it is an interesting piece of, it's an arch of woman's life and how small, surprising, serendipitous situations can change a lot.
Yeah, I mean, I think the image I get is like she says, unexpected, but this flowering that you don't really imagine that someone who's been through all that she's been through in her childhood would have something so tender and beautiful. So yeah, it has that, the possibility of that, which, yeah, I feel happy to be part of to voice a piece like this that has tenderness and softness and yeah, enlivening feeling.
I think it's one of those rare pieces in the moonlight. When you end it, you feel the sweetness. that you feel like, the possibility, like you said, you feel,
Yeah, but why did she go away? Because Eve Ensler says that they like left the shelter and had a
yeah, but this is when she was 16 years old or 23 years old. But that's when I think much later, because this monologue, she interviewed her 5 years back, what she says, no, that she must be a woman. So she must have fled her home, and then she must have, been in the homeless shelter and must have met a woman there. So maybe this experience somehow contributed
okay.
for her really finding love much later in her life. Is my take on it.
Yeah, it sounds right. It sounds like this could be a very beautiful beginning to just being alive to your own own sexuality, sensuality, body. It's actually bringing me to something we were discussing in an earlier piece about uh, in like what you discover about yourself, particularly in terms of sexuality in a relation, like relationally, and that's what this brings up as well. That to be made to feel sexy and sensual and alive and yeah, to open your body, trust your body like that with another, and to enjoy it and to be enjoyed, and that can do so much for like even if she disappeared in this one,
Yeah.
yeah, it's a beautiful thing to cherish and to
There are two things that came to my mind. One is the beginning, because the beginning tells you that there are a lot of rules around the vagina.
Yeah.
Like you can't touch yourself, don't touch, it will fall off. And the fear of, I don't know, many of these monologues have this idea that your Coochie Snorcher is going to fall off. So where did that come from? That, you know, that you can't go swimming because I must have lost it swimming. And there's a lot of rules and kind of you can't touch, don't. And that then this that I would like to explore, but I can't. I'm told, my mama tells me I can't touch.
Right.
And then another thing that is in this dialogue, suddenly there is this moment where this man invades her.
Yeah.
And that sort of is extremely traumatic because it also involves her father seeing it. And I'm just wondering what kind of trauma that brings. And it's kind of not addressed in this piece.
Yeah. And I think not just the father seeing it, the father shoots him.
Yes.
I mean, something did happen, must be there, because she says, and he's paralyzed. So there is, I'm sure, as you might, I don't know if there's a guilt there or sadness that did I cause his paralysis or something, like, I don't know. It's something, it's not addressed at all. It's quite, it makes you like wonder about what's going on.
it actually to me like particularly because you read the beginning of the like the background and that it's in homeless, like it's a space of like homeless women, people. It sort of gave me a sense of like this is the norm, like this is baseline, that this much trauma every woman in the uh, in that space would have. Like I think that possibly what Sari is talking about, like the insensitivity, or not even to give it a name, but the fact that it's not addressed just makes it seem like it's every woman must go through some version of this to different degrees. So there is something, yeah, chilling about that. And it just, yeah, sort of segues into this beautiful thing, which is, yeah, actually, that is quite chilling. I think I got caught up in the beauty of the.
Yeah, it is chilling, and it's how it's shared. So that's as well, no? The woman shared it like that. But yeah.
I wonder how it sounded to you, Megha.
This, it's this sense of an image of wholeness, like no matter what happened to her, in the end, this is what she gets to meet. Like as all both of you meet at the end of the piece, like she comes to whole, like she has this experience and this sense of maybe I lost it, I scratched it away. Somebody got in without even like she didn't even know what was happening when she was being raped. And I feel like all women need to hear that. Even boy and men, no matter what happened, your wholeness is never taken away. My wholeness is never taken away. I may be numb, like Veka was saying earlier, ignorant. So ignorant is numbness. It's blocked, it's frozenness. So I have this, but I'm not like part whole. I'm fully whole all the time. So yeah, it's such a powerful. And even when Ruchi was speaking, like when she was 13 or 14, like it's a dirty place. It's a place of infection. I wonder how many little girls, young growing women have this sense. It's full of blood, it's infection and bugs, and you don't even understand why this body changes. Like how food changes the vaginal flow, right? Does, right?
Very true.
But then at the same time, there's this thing that hit me again about like taking over. I feel like right now where I'm sitting, there's nothing more beautiful as to a giggling girl, like a young, beautiful girl, like 5 or 6 3, like she's laughing and hair all over the place, and then she's rolling on the floor. That's life. I feel there's this quality of giggling that little girls have. I haven't seen it with boys, but I have a younger brother, and I feel like anybody who sees that, even the one who raped this young child, there's this invitation to life that cannot be explained. Like, because I enjoy being with little girls. Because they just bring me back to life.
Yeah, very true. As you're saying that, I'm remembering I have a recent neighbor here, and they have 2 kids, and the younger one is a girl, and the older is a boy. So I'd been to their house recently. It's been a long time since I've been with children, and many of my recent nephew. I have more nephews. I haven't had a niece in a long time. So guys, this little girl, she's only 2 years old. She knew exactly what she wanted. She would refuse, and this was just one of the vagina monologue days. And the mother was telling me, like, little apologetically, she doesn't like to wear any frock or dress because she likes to sit with her legs open. So she only likes trousers or shorts. She only likes to wear shorts. And and she's like this really cute, and she's very clear what she wants. I was asking her something, what she gave, what she took back from me. She was sitting, listening to her mother say this, the way she was looking at me. I said, it's totally okay. Let her just be, I said, maybe get her a big flare. If you want her to really wear a frock, get her big flare. Let her sit like that. It's totally okay. But, even then when she was sitting on the ground, she was sitting with her, legs fully wide open, and the parents were a little confused as to how to handle this little one. It was very, so I was remembering that it's such a
but it's a very natural movement. Like even at this age, for me, it's like having my vagina kissing the earth. It immediately cool it off. I immediately gets cooled down. So it's a very natural movement for a young girl to have it.
Yeah, it's very natural. And to sit like this is very natural, actually, for men and for women as well. But I think there's something about sitting like that, with even now, I feel as a woman, there's something very freeing about that, to sit like that. And, yeah. And I think to be seen, I think that's what you always saying earlier also. I want to put a little bit more emphasis also on that, to be fully seen by another. I think, Ruchi, you also mentioned that relational, and that I think whatever pain or whatever is there, when we are fully seen at any time in our life, just the way we are, um, there's some movement that happens. And I think the word that, I don't know who said that, enjoy, to be enjoyed. To be enjoyed. Yeah. It's a great feeling to be enjoyed.
There's also this, and there's this arch that it ends with heaven. And I want to also add that in real life, from which this is drawn, but people who have had similar traumas, it's a long, often a long road to walk, and they still enjoy. But there are. It's not that you get rid of that trauma fully.
Yeah.
You can heal a lot of it, and I think that's the important message, that you can heal, you can find, but it doesn't usually happen like this.
Oh, it doesn't.
It's a long journey.
It's a long journey. And I think it also varies from woman to woman.
Sure.
Right? It varies from woman to woman. And we don't know which moment. So the thing is to invest in the possibilities than not the opposite of it. That I think these stories kind of also give hope. At the same time, we can't rely always on somebody coming tomorrow and enjoying me, and then I will be. We can't. We also have to also do our own journey of enjoying ourselves, so that when someone comes and enjoys us, we are also able to receive that enjoyment. So I think it's such a journey of both happening. Yeah, we need both to simultaneously happen. We can't wait.
And there is also that, in this case, I don't want to use the word teach or anything, but this older woman is a way shower.
Yeah.
So the girl is living in an ignorance, like you start in some ways. She doesn't know. She's never experienced that.
Right.
So she doesn't have that plane where to look at herself from a different angle.
Yeah.
And you could maybe say that the older lady is slightly scaffolding her, like, you can come up here, you see yourself differently. See, view is much better here.
Yeah. And as you spoke that, I suddenly remembered when I first heard this piece, in the reading itself, when she goes to this 24-year-old, now she's talking now, right? But I wondered, you're curious about this, when you go to her house, because she doesn't ask her permission. She just leaps in and kisses her, right? So I was very curious about what made that woman do that without taking her permission. She didn't take her permission at all. So she was surprised. It was a different matter that she didn't get shocked or anything like that. But what happens to someone else? And I'm just curious about it, because we're also talking about permission. Yeah, permission doesn't matter who it is. It's a woman or a man. The permission is a very important thing. She's only 16 years old. So, and we always later on, we'll feel safe and all that. And we shift the narrative. We always shift the narrative of certain things. In my own life, I had to look back later on and see that, no, maybe I was not that safe at that moment. But I gave someone who had more power I just let it, because I loved them, but they didn't take my permission. They were still a little bit of a violation because it was a complete stranger, So that's also something I feel like, just because we enjoy doesn't mean also that it does not require permission. Permission is honoring someone, can say a yes, so this sudden movement in the nervous system yeah, so that piece, I remember when I first read it, it just gave me a little bit of a jolt. If I was a 16-year-old, even if I would have enjoyed, I would have first been a little shocked, because I love this person, I've been watching this person, and I'm curious, and I go to their home, and if so yeah, I'm just, that came to me. I'm just I just want to voice it. That
Go ahead, Ruchi.
Yeah, I recently read, and I don't know if it was an article or an Instagram post or something about consent is sexy. And that made me think, like, yeah, actually it is.
It is.
Yeah, like, it's rarely happened to me that, someone asks before kissing, but when it does, then it's like, oh, this is nice. And there's like this sort of sense of honoring around it. And yeah, it would have been like if this story had that twist of just asking, particularly a 16-year-old who's
Right.
probably never kissed before.
Right.
Oh, I mean, one doesn't know. She's been through stuff, but
Yeah.
like maybe not kissed in this like tender, beautiful
Right.
way.
Because she did become homeless. She left home. Like, it's not like her life suddenly became all magical and great, right? She ran away from home, and she went through all of this too, right? So it's interesting.
And she's 16.
Yeah.
If we think of the discussions nowadays about age, and there are many sides to that. One is that girls and boys start their sexual life earlier and earlier.
Yeah.
They try to grow up earlier and earlier. That's one point. And the other one is this pair, 16-year-old and an older woman. How much older?
Right.
So there is also this, is this, how do I react to this?
Right.
Because in some places it would be also illegal.
Yeah. Because it's as simple as saying, if he was a guy, would it be any different? I mean, if you just, it's interesting. It's, it's interesting.
I mean, this is something I've thought about a lot, this thing of if it was a guy, but like the sense of safety with a woman is just very different. I don't know if one could say that, like a guy could have, but it's, yeah, maybe it's politically incorrect to say that, but I feel that it's a different, I mean, it's a sisterhood, right? Even though there is like sexuality, sensuality between two women, it's still like this sense of camaraderie and closeness that like we share the same body. I think it's in a sense, it's like such a beautiful thing to have this intimacy with your own body, almost to know your own body through the other. And yeah,
it's interesting because I like, I'm 48. If I have a 16-year-old, I see who is really wanting to know herself in this way, I see her, or I know that I am at a higher power position, and if she looks up to me, then she will do whatever I wish to do for me, or what I do she would immediately take it. It's the same as the power dynamics, right? I feel like, so the one who is in a position of power always, and if the other also admires you, or you're like this cool person, then there is a greater responsibility on that person with a minor. This has to be voiced. It has to be voiced. It has, yeah. It is. I feel, because now we have, everything is okay, right? It's a relationship. We have this gender fluidity now, so there can also, even between the same gender, there can be abuse. It's not like just because women and women are in relationship, there is no
There
abuse.
is
The same-
huge, yeah.
Yeah, in man and man, if it doesn't, that doesn't change. I think permission is something very different, especially in matters of sexuality, because it's so intimate. I think there is nothing more intimate than sexual intimacy, because you go beyond, right? There's something that you go beyond. I think after being with your mother in her womb, this is the next most intimate experience of your life, is being very intimate with another person, sexually intimate. I think I think the level, like the same trauma that a mother and child violation can happen, the trauma that can exist, I think that can also creep up in a sexual intimacy situation if there is violation of any kind. It's a trauma that is very difficult to come out of. It takes a long time. Yeah. So I just felt that, I've never voiced it. I remembered it. I'd never voiced it even in my college, and I never voiced it because nobody felt like had the issue. But I felt like when I first read it, and I'm very comfortable with women. My whole life I've been so even for me to suddenly feel that, how would it be? Because for me, I would catch myself, correct myself, because I like this person, I'll go with it. But now that I know trauma, I know that I was not given permission. I was not asked. That it's just for us to, because we speak so much about permission, right? It is.
But then it takes this thing about us adults, right? Like being able to say, I see you, and this is what happens to me inside,
Right.
and I want to explore something with you.
Right. That's permission.
Even adult to adult. And this is the basis of conversation we never have.
Never.
Like we'll say, you're doing this, he's not or she's not doing anything to you.
Yeah.
This is happening to you.
Right.
You see or you hear that person, and maybe you want to explore something, go and ask and invite. But we don't do that.
We don't do
Because
that.
this 16-year-old didn't receive that.
Right.
Or maybe she did, but it's not written there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I recently saw this Malayalam movie, which has just come out. It's called Hridayam, means heart. First time I saw in a movie, a guy, he sees this woman, and his heart opens up, and he just goes and tells her that, when I see you, I feel all open and here, and I want to explore it with you if you're open. And that I've never seen that in any movie before. If you're open, and if you're not, I will let it go. And she says, yeah, I felt that too when I saw you, and I would like to explore. It was pretty, quite something. It's showing a new movement in film, that you can directly go and ask and be open to also take the other boats, keep it both open. And to know somatically, is she open or not, also to gauge that, if you're tuned in your body, you can know. And you can ask, I'm feeling that. Is that true that you're feeling it too? Or I think, yeah.
And it's again about being vulnerable, right? And people get it so wrong. Like even in coaching, when women show up and they speak about they don't want to be vulnerable, they think that it means I don't want to hurt. But being vulnerable means I'm in touch with myself.
Right.
Know I feel what's happening. Maybe I don't know, I don't understand, but I feel what's happening for me there. Maybe I can't explain it, but I feel, I sense something, and this is what it's about.
Yeah. Being in touch with your body and feelings in that moment.
That moment, and then
yeah. I'm just, just holding. Yeah. Yeah, is there anything else anyone wishes to share? Today is this like this, right? There's this quietness. We are exactly at 7:30. So yeah, so I think this is a good place for us maybe for tonight. Just pause the live and all the pieces coming now are kind of in this energy. It's not in, there are not many conflicts to kind of talk about. It takes it to that place of beauty, joy, and silence. So we'll do that. Have a wonderful evening, everyone watching. Please send us your love and support and encouragement and reflections and comments. And take good care.